about to watch is probably some really dumb opinions by me, Ace, as we are going to go on a journey where I review every single major wrestling show that has to do with the biggest show of the year in WWE. That's right, this is Ace's Road to WrestleMania. Well, it is not Monday, but happy Tuesday afternoon for those who are actually watching this live. I know a lot of you guys will watch this later. As the Raven once said, I was feeling a little sick last night, and I was pretty bedridden, and I could have gone on here and try to watch Raw, but I think it just wouldn't have been a good performance by me, and I probably would have been really negative on an all around pretty solid show. Wasn't the show's fault that I was feeling like absolute bleep. As though, but welcome into the Raw review. Ace's Road to WrestleMania continues on this Tuesday afternoon. So yeah, as we get into this Raw, we are the road to WrestleMania is getting smaller and smaller, and we already have our first confirmed match. It is official, as Adam Pearce would say. Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 41. So we have another babyface finishing his story in that, same vein as Cody Rhodes finishing his story at WrestleMania. Could be fine. Does it feel kind of lower tier than perhaps Cody's win, doing the same kind of story a year later with a championship that has been kind of seen a little lower than the title? Will that almost downgrade Jay's win? It really depends on the booking, on what we do from here. An Ace Raw review at a normal time for the British, yes, and maybe it was a good Raw review for the British and the rest of the UK, as we now know the former UK champion Gunther pretty much confirms that he's going to be walking into Mania as World Heavyweight Champion. Rob thinks Jay should lose, and I'm not surprised at that whatsoever. And Raven says, "Yee, thank you guys for joining me. I didn't know if I was gonna actually get people to watch live. I know this is a really weird time for a lot of people, not for Robert and you folks over there at the UK. So I hope you guys are enjoying this live. But we'll get into Gunther versus Jay more in detail in a second. The show did start with a CM Punk promo, essentially generic, like. Yes, I do think Germ Welcome In last night's episode was much better than the week before, aside from the main event, because I think Punk versus Sami Zayn was very good. But yeah, Punk kind of just did his, typical Punk thing. He pointed at the sign, he did the thing, and Logan Paul comes out, and essentially Logan Paul talking about that CM Punk made fun of Kevin Owens, when in fact Logan Paul threw him out of the Royal Rumble. So you have that, and they are going to see each other in the Elimination Chamber. So that all happened. So the main event is Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. Also, the drink of the day, almost forgot. It's just some H2O. It's 1 p.m. here right now. I usually drink water until probably about like 7 p.m. and then it's like usually like Gatorade. My shirt's actually pretty good. I didn't want to forget this. It's a Paul Heyman shirt that says "The Wise Man." Love this shirt. It was on sale on WWE Shop, I think, for literally like $5. I was like, screw it, I'll wear it in some Shockwave videos, and here we are. But anyway, yes. We had an Io Sky tag team match. We had Damage Control. Io Sky looked awesome. So they're doing Io Sky versus Rhea for the belt. Essentially, that's the excuse now of Io Sky getting a title shot because she didn't qualify for the Chamber because of Rhea Ripley's actions in that match. It got disqualified. So, good for Io. Should be a good match against Rhea. Yeah. Unfortunately, Io's going to 99.9% sure will lose that match. So that's, unfortunate for Io. She's one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. AJ Styles made his Monday Night Raw debut, I guess return, because he's been on Raw before. But yes, the phenomenal one back on the red brand. Raw was in Nashville tonight, so TNA country. So TNA original himself walks out. I thought that was a good city to do it in Nashville, especially with the current TNA and WWE partnership. They could actually reference that. So AJ comes out interrupted by Dom Mysterio. Dom Mysterio does his thing. He gets booed. They fight. We're getting Dom versus AJ Styles next week on Raw. I think that match will be very entertaining. You have arguably the top 3 greatest in-ring performers of all time versus one of the most entertaining heels probably in the past 10 years. Probably the most entertaining heel since his stepmother, Vicky Guerrero, if you're paying attention to the lore. And they're also teasing Finn and Dom breaking up. Does anyone actually care about that? I mean, not to be super mean about it, but I don't see a Dom versus Finn rivalry and the breaking up of Judgment Day. I'm just not feeling. I'm just not interested at all. Meh. Just kind of do the match and get it over with. Germ says, Logan's new finisher was sick, even though I'm not much of a fan of his. I thought it was creative. Yeah, Logan, I will give Logan Paul this. He definitely does put in the work when it comes to his moveset. Sorry, Punk. Give me a different word to use, Punk, if you don't like the word. But, I'm also over the whole Judgment Day story. Logan's new theme is very him. I actually never liked his old theme because I thought it sounded way too much like Seth Rollins. Because it has the like that. And people aren't going to do that with Logan Paul. They're there to boo him. So I think having just a, Def Rebel rap song or whoever did the song, I think it works for him. If the Good Brothers had been released, I'd said they go back to being Finn's minions. Yeah, that's true. The Good Brothers, they'll go to AEW and be Kenny Omega's minions or something. Just like Star Wars. Skill set. That's a good word for it. Logan Paul doing some different stuff. I really hope the Judgment Day, Raven says, I really hope the Judgment Day story does something unexpected, but we all know it won't. Yeah, I really don't know. Aside from a Finn and Dom match, possibly at WrestleMania, I don't know where this goes from here. Maybe if Dom beats Finn, the Judgment Day just ends. Maybe that's the stipulation. Because I really don't, they're definitely hinting at Dom betraying Liv. They're definitely portraying that character is almost like a gold digger, kind of goes after whoever the champion is, because after Rhea beat Liv, Dom, wanted a hug, kind of symbolizing that he likes whoever the champion is, which I think is funny. It's very entertaining. War Raiders versus American Made was an awesome match. The Raw Tag Team division finally stepping up because I've been praising how loaded SmackDown's tag division is, and finally, the War Raiders are looking like the NXT War Raiders. I mean, I we want the War Raiders that used to open those takeovers and have banger matches against literally any team. And I think we're getting to that because they made American Made literally look like champs in this match. Screw it, do a best of 7 series with these teams. They have great chemistry. I would not mind seeing more of these matches. Yeah, hopefully they just let that go. They're Shout out to the Raven. The most Raven coded match is happening soon, where Ivy Nile is going to take on Lyra Valkyrie for the Intercontinental Championship. Um, but for real, I'm I'm glad the Intercontinental title is being used like this, because before the Intercontinental title, Ivy Nile literally had nothing to do. She was just literally next to Chad Gable and the rest of American Made, not doing anything. And I for real think Ivy Nile's talented. She could be used more. And that is exactly what this Intercontinental title needs to be used for. It needs to be used for the superstars who just don't reach that main event scene like somebody like Ivy Nile. I don't think Ivy Nile's going to win it, but this could help her get more attention, and maybe she'll get a bigger reaction if they give her more opportunities like this. I'm getting so many questions. Maybe I hate these Raw reviews. This Raw review has become a Raven hate stream, and I don't know why. It's become the Raven roast session. Yeah, Ivy Nile. Ace, what are your thoughts on the overall for EO being 90 last week, but bumping her down to 86 this week, the same as Raquel? Do 2K devs not want the show? War Raiders also got their overalls posted. So they changed EO's overall. I didn't even notice that. So they're going to do what NBA 2K does and change their overalls throughout the year, is what I gathered from that. Which, it works in NBA, right? Because, say, for example, Lonzo Ball halfway through the year comes back from injury, starts averaging 35 points a game. And I know some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. Player does good halfway through the season, so overall goes up. That I'm talking to you like a 5-year-old now. You can't really do that for wrestling because it's not real. So, yeah, maybe, a wrestler gets hot like an LA Knight halfway through the year and you put their overall up. But how do you judge that? How do you correctly judge that? With actual sports, it's very simple. Player does good, overall go higher. Even Rock Tip can understand that. So I don't know where they could, go from that. Changing the overalls also every patch would probably break the game, knowing 2K. So maybe they shouldn't do something like that live. They'll put LA Knight at a 91, and then all of a sudden a referee won't be in the ring. I don't want that. Main event, we had Logan Paul defeat Rey Mysterio, like I talked about a little bit before. It was quite obvious Logan Paul was going to be in this Elimination Chamber. I hope he jumps off a pod or does something crazy. How about a buckshot? Okay, how should we do the buckshot in the Elimination Chamber? How about he could jump, he could be like hanging off the cage and he jumps off and does the clothesline. He could do it from the pod. Or we could just have like somebody spear him through glass. That'd be fun too. Maybe they just beat the absolute like bleep out of him. I would not be. I'd be very sports entertained. As we get filled up, I think my prediction is still John Cena. My heart says CM Punk and we get Punk versus Cody. My brain says John Cena because the story is right in front of us. Yeah. To the outside and knocks them onto the chain. That's a good idea. Do it from the ropes, but it lands into the chain. An AA off the pod is definitely safer than an F5 off the pod, like what Brock Lesnar did to Austin Theory a couple years ago. So I think, yeah, especially now with the padded elimination chamber floors. Um, yeah, I think like that overall would be a lot safer than that F5 that Austin Theory thankfully landed on his knees, because I I still think about that spot, and I can't believe he got talked into doing that. There's a really funny story. I think he said it on Chris Van Fleet, where I guess Brock did it to AJ Styles first, and they had a really thick mat because it was just they were just rehearsing the spot, and I guess they do the spot. AJ lands on the mat, and he goes, I guess AJ Styles like famously never curses or anything, but I guess he went like "F this, I'm not doing that spot." So you know it hurt then. It definitely he definitely messed up his hip or something. I like that Cena and Punk didn't win, almost to put them purposely in the chamber. I think it's really cool how the chamber is setting up for both women and men. Yeah, they're doing a good job at balancing the booking of the chamber matches more than the rumble matches. I think I equally care about both chamber matches, where unfortunately in the rumble I cared way more about the men's, and the women it was just like, Charlotte, here you go. And like that's all was really needing. I think it's going to be Cody versus John Cena, and then Punk will call in his favor and make it a triple threat. That's that's interesting too. I just don't the rumored triple threat of Seth, Roman, and Punk for no belt makes no sense to me. I get it; it's three guys that just absolutely hate each other, but I don't think multi-man matches work unless there is something on the line. Like, imagine if you just had an elimination chamber match. Just because six people just didn't like each other. Would you really be into that? And that's how I kind of feel about this triple threat match, where it's like, what can I get invested in? Like, yeah, maybe it's a big enough match to main event night one, but there's nothing on the line. At least what I would do, okay, if you have to book this triple threat match, if it has to happen, then you have Adam Pierce be like, we need like you have Adam Pierce come out. You all want the world championship. The winner of that triple threat faces the world heavyweight champion on Raw. Like Raw after WrestleMania, that's the main event. Excuse me. That's what I always wanted from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, because it's a meaningless battle royal, right? You just get a trophy and people forget about it. I thought it'd be cool if the winner of the Andre Battle Royal got a title shot on Raw the next day, because the Raw after WrestleMania is a very, hyped up show. So if you had that be the main event and you had that winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Rumble happens in like the beginning of night one, then that person wins, and then all weekend you're thinking like, oh, could that person actually win the belt on Monday? It makes, to me, the WrestleMania week extravaganza, like you tie a nice bow onto that. That's at least what I used to book with like my wrestling action figures. Oh, 1 second. I think the favor, Rob says, I think the favor is to get Punk into Gunther versus Jay. That's also a possibility. Um, I really enjoyed that they'll be in it. I definitely think Punk versus Seth versus Roman might be set up again, though. Punk versus Seth versus Roman might be set up again, though. Imagine Roman HBKing himself into the chamber and just destroying Punk and Seth. Yeah, that could happen. If anyone's spearing Logan Paul through the pod, it's going to be Roman, which that would be a fun spot. Yeah, something will probably happen with Roman and Seth in the chamber that causes Punk to lose, and then both of them causes both of them to lose. Like, they're definitely setting up some kind of thing. Um, Maybe this, I always think WrestleMania 2000 had a fatal four-way for the WWE title. It was The Rock, Big Show, Stone, not Triple H. Wasn't Stone Cold, because Stone Cold was hurt. This is why they did this. And Mick Foley came out of retirement. So I think that's on par with Seth versus Roman versus Cena, not versus Cena, versus Cody versus Punk. So Cena's not in it in this booking scenario. That Fatal 4-Way is not only on par with WrestleMania 2000's Fatal 4-Way, I say it's better. And I truly would not know who's going to win. I think all four of them would have a chance to win. I think Roman right now isn't scheduled to be there. I think that's a red herring. They're just kayfabe. He'll be there. I think if Roman is actually hurt or not scheduled to be there, then to me, then you just have Punk win the Chamber, and it's Punk versus Cody, and then Seth could, sorry Seth, as Going in Raw would say. Um, and then there wasn't a whole thing that Cody was injured, but I haven't heard that since. I think Cody cut a promo saying he was hurt, but we really don't know if it's kayfabe or not. Oh, in kayfabe, you think Roman's hurt? Yeah. Maybe he won't be in the Chamber then. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's possible. Definitely possible. I would prefer Roman to just be in the Chamber, or yeah, you do that Shawn Michaels spot where Roman climbs out of the pod and costs Punk at the end. But then, do you have Cena defeat Punk not clean? Because in this scenario, Cena's winning the Chamber, right? Would Cena want to win that way? Because I think if you have John Cena win now, it's got to be like a heroic win, because now you need to believe that he could beat Cody. Like, we're not talking about Gunther or the World Heavyweight Championship now. We're talking about Cody Rhodes, the guy that beat Roman Reigns last year, the two-time Rumble winner. So you need Cena to look strong in that. I know, booking Cena to look strong. Wow, they've never done that before. But you really have to do it, like, because I need to fully believe that this guy could not only become now a 17-time world champion, but beat the new John Cena, essentially. The guy that has been so protected, has won pretty much every match since coming, almost every match since coming back. That guy beat Seth Rollins 3 pay-per-views in a row. Like, this is, Cody is Super Cena now. Logan picks the scraps and Cena pins him. Okay, so it comes down to Cena and Logan. You could do that. Okay, hold on. Raw was cut off by the very. Oh yes, I even wrote that in my notes, and I didn't even say it. I literally wrote, yeah, Triple H did the lower third thing and had the New Day attack Rey Mysterio. Yeah, they're definitely setting up the New Day. Probably taking on Rey. This luchador thing with Chad Gable, right? And now you have New Day feuding with Rey. Is this gonna set up a giant, like, multi-person match at WrestleMania where you have maybe the New Day and American Made? Like, I'm talking, like, so if the New Day's 2 people and American Made's 3, so 5 on. All right, picture this: 5 on 5. You have the anti-luchadors versus Mysterio, Penta, Dragon Lee. Who do we have left? Who can we throw in there that's a luchador? The Axiom. Who's we gotta have another one. Yeah, do I have to book a return of Kalisto? We gotta have somebody. Oh, Grand Metalik has been working house shows, so there's your 5. Do you think the Gable thing is setting up Aleister Black? Very possible. I did want to talk about that. So Aleister Black, or Malachi Black in AEW, apparently does not have a no compete, so he could show up any day now. Both Ricky Starks and Miro are off the website. Ah, yes, Echo. Well, Andrade's not a luchador. I was thinking of people with masks. I know Andrade used to wear a mask in Mexico, but he hasn't worn a mask in WWE. Huzzy Avatar. Sin Cara, yes. What's his name now? It starts with an M in AAA. But anyway, Um, yeah, I think Aleister Black is probably going to feud, but could also be a red herring because Selena Vega moved to SmackDown. They literally said she left the LWO. So I I think there's also a chance Aleister just debuts on SmackDown and Zelina is his manager. Maybe he feuds with Andrade, who Zelina Vega used to manage. There could be a story there, and also him and Andrade, former AEW guys. Aleister could kind of be like, we're both outside. I forget how Aleister even talks. He hasn't been seen on TV. How does he even talk? You were both outsiders. Uh, Wait, I should have did. Can my chair go back? Can I do the Alistair entrance? Hold on. Hold on. So Alistair comes back and he's like, clip that. Um Rusev versus Cena again. That'd be funny. Um I would not be opposed to a Rusev Cena match, but Rusev would have to win. Rusev's got to get his win back. I would honestly, I was thinking about this today. So, Rusev Miro, also off the website, apparently doesn't have a no compete as well. And Ricky Starks is also a free agent, apparently. He does not have a no compete as well. So, all three of these guys could show up at the same time. What if they just did the Radicals thing and had all three of them show up and they're like a faction? Um, that way, you can have Ricky Starks go right up to the main roster with two guys who are established. So you could build him up that way. And they could start like a kind of, outsiders type of thing. I think that'd be fun since take advantage that they've all been released at the same time. Similar to what they did with AJ Styles, with him, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows well, Luke Gallows returned, and then Carl Anderson and AJ made their debut. All three of them came from Japan together. That's essentially if the three of them want to work with each other. Ricky Starks, though, would be perfect on NXT right now because the men's main event scene in NXT is bad. That's no disrespect to Trick Williams. I think he's got no challengers. El Generico, that'd be funny. That'd be funny to see. Maybe we get. I think they really are hinting at Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, which cool. It'll probably be a great match. Be funny if it was El Generico. Um, Heath Slater. All right, Rob's Heath Slater booking. Heath Slater should come in with them as well. Not for any stories or anything. I just want Heath back. Rob is dying for Heath Slater's return. Where is he at right now? Because wasn't he in TNA? So technically, Rob, he could show up in NXT. But I feel like I haven't seen him in a long time. Because didn't him and Rhino kind of continue their team in TNA? Or am I just completely making that up? I don't think I am. I got kids, as Heath would say. Yeah, I don't think I'm making that up. Heath and Rhino could be needed on the Raw tag division. Like I was praising the match tonight, but man, they need more tag teams, especially if the New Day are not feuding with the titles right now. I was just doing indie stuff. Wouldn't be surprised if that guy tried a hand in acting. We did just see the return of Fandango on NXT. I don't think I got to talk about that. Speaking of the NXT needing more people in their men's roster, I guess Fandango gonna add some depth. Um, I'm I'm gonna be honest. I'm a big Johnny Curtis fan. Probably a lot of people are gonna be like Fandango's washed. I think he has so much charisma. Um, that guy could have at least been a really good Intercontinental Champion back in the day. Maybe not as Fandango, but Johnny Curtis himself is a super talented dude, and I would not want to see more, or I would want to see more. Excuse me. Releases two tag. Yeah, that's true. Two tag teams were released. Him and Rhino won the TNA tag titles. Man. Tyler Breeze becomes a NXT writer and immediately brought his boy in. What a great friend. I didn't know Tyler Breeze is an NXT writer now. I guess that's funny. So he's probably gonna write this Fandango and Lexus King match. Maybe he'll walk out with Fandango for Fandango's first match. Maybe we see the return of Breezango. Would not be opposed to that. Was always a big fan of that team. I was surprised they'd ever won the tag titles in an era where everyone was winning the tag titles. Heath Slater and Rhino won the tag titles. Fandango and Tyler Breeze for the matter our main event stays in my universe mode mid card. They're great talent. They're great enhancements. Did y'all hear about the group of names WWE trademark? I did read that. I mean WWE trademarks names all the time. Every entertainment studio does this stuff where they'll just trademark stuff and they might not even use it, or they'll combine different names with it. I wouldn't look too much into it. Yeah, because you never know what they're actually gonna do. They when the Gunther name came up, they trademarked a really, I would say, insensitive name if they went with the full name that they trademarked for Gunther. Apparently, that would have been bad, especially in today's day and age. That would have been really bad. I'm glad we just have the ring general Gunther. I think that works. But no, it was cool to see Fandango back. Wouldn't I'd be cool if Fandango got a NXT North American title run. He might win this. I almost just called it a Heisman Cup, and that's wrong on so many levels. The Heisman is not a cup, and Heisman is college football. Wow. Draco Knox and versus Braun Breaker future WrestleMania main event. Yeah, Braun Breaker isn't even that good of a name, but I've gotten so used to it now it doesn't really matter. But was never really into Braun Breaker. Especially I just noticed the past year that there's two Ks in it. Sure. Those 3 months where VKM took over NXT did some damage, huh? Oh man, but yeah, overall this was a fine Raw. It had its moments. Seemed like it was well liked by you guys. I'll be curious what they'll do on the Valentine's Day edition of SmackDown, which might be a Saturday morning SmackDown review, just so you guys know. If it's gonna be Saturday, it's gonna be really early because we got Saturday night's crowd pleasing event this Saturday. But we'll see how my Friday goes. The 2Ks are really bad. It's so goofy. But yeah. Now that Mustafa Ali is signed to TNA, they should have him use his NA championship match he was going to have to get a title shot that he should win. Yeah, there's a story there with Mustafa Ali that's unfinished. Well, now that the New Day are heel, you could do a heel Kofi versus a face Mustafa, where Mustafa's like, dude, you took everything from me. You could do that storyline as well. I also keep forgetting Shinsuke's US champion. Honestly, if SmackDown's going to be 3 hours, I don't know why we can't have the US championship more. I love Shinsuke Nakamura. He's a legend, man. That's a future Hall of Famer right there. But why? Why is he just holding on to this belt for no reason? I don't get it. Did you see the shot of Liv all bloody? I missed when that would have happened. Yeah, EO need Liv in the head, and yeah, because I saw that earlier that people were, I think it was Wrestle Talk that not confirmed it, but kind of looked into the footage and said it was most likely EO's knee. Ugh, playing Fortnite with Rod Kip. I hate that guy. I Oh man. Let's see. We're 46 minutes in. I want to at least go an hour on this really weird afternoon stream. Let's speculate more. What is everybody? So we have Gunther versus Jey Uso. That's our only confirmed match at WrestleMania. What else do you guys want to see at WrestleMania? You know, I had my complaints about this match that I was kind of confused by it, but when Jey Uso said it, I got a little excited. I I was kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just WrestleMania fever, but I'm like, okay, I could get into this, I think. Any thoughts on the next event, Vengeance on Saturday? It seems like a very passable NXT show. Like, there's really Roxanne versus Bailey versus Julia will probably be an awesome match. Outside of that, there's nothing really there for me. Is there even a full card? Hold on, let me check it out. I'll do a mini preview here. I'll do a prediction. I'll even do predictions. Your predictions champion. Here we go. All right. So you have the women's title, Julia versus Bailey versus Roxanne. Julia's winning that. That'd be crazy if there was any other scenario. Fallon Henley versus Stephanie Vaquer, NXT Women's North American title. I think the fans want Stephanie to win it right away, but I think Fallon's going to keep it. I think this is a multi-month program they're going to build up to. I think they want Stephanie chasing that belt for a little bit. Oh, is there really only 3 matches confirmed? Okay. And then you have the NXT title match, Boba Femi versus Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller in a triple threat match. I knew they've been on NXT, but I didn't think that was the match. Okay. That match is going to be awesome. Oba Femi's going to win, but that is a match of the year contender for me right there. That is going to be one of the most sports entertaining matches we have seen in a long time. Wow, I'm actually quite excited for that, actually. Imperium Pete Dunne. Oh, did forget to mention that in the Raw review. Yeah, I think it was Ludwig kind of told Pete, like, I don't think I could do a Ludwig impression. Hold on. Duh! I gotta warm up. Duh! 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 Pete Dunne, why don't you hurt? Why don't you go hurt somebody tonight? I think he said something like that. Duh! Pete Dunne, why don't you go hurt someone tonight? Yeah, I mean, Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate could still happen. I think Tyler Bate should be back from injury soon, is from what I gathered. Ilya Dragunov, I think, will still be out for a little bit. I could be wrong, though. I think, Rob and I were talking about this off camera. You know, Rob and I were thinking Gunther could still beat Jey again, and then Ilya's the one to beat Gunther, and you could do that storyline that Ilya Dragunov is Gunther's kryptonite. That, perfect impression. Yeah, I would not mind Pete Dunne joining Imperium. I think that'd be pretty cool, actually. I do agree with Rob. Pete Dunne is great, so whatever gets him on TV more, would not mind to see him more. He's one of my boys from the NXT late 2010s class. Any of those guys from that era, I love. Yeah, world champ Ilya could definitely happen. So if Jey Uso wins the world title at WrestleMania, say he beats Gunther, I don't think he's holding it for that long. I mean, if we're going by, if he's this generation's Jeff Hardy, he's just gonna always be better at chasing the title, and I don't think they're gonna give him a long reign. I, I could honestly, I legit could see him winning that belt and then losing it at Backlash to somebody. Like, and that's not a knock on Jey Uso, but that's just how that character's booked. Like, you look at his Intercontinental title reign, he it was only 60 days or something. I don't know if it was even that. I think it was less. I think it was much less than that, actually. I think I was shooting too high. Yeah, I think Trent Seven's in TNA, so you could do a Mustache Mountain reunion. Yeah, you could do Mustache Mountain versus Pete and Ludwig. That'd be cool. I don't think that's a Mania match, because as popular Mustache Mountain was in NXT and stuff like that, I don't think they'd get much of a reaction at WrestleMania. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate didn't get much of a reaction at WrestleMania. And you hear about the stuff that, Triple H was a little frustrated that DIY didn't get a reaction. Even NXT at its peak, even at quality at its highest, it had a ceiling on its audience. You can't just stick people out there and expect like a rousing reaction on the main roster. You know, 300 people going nuts is completely different than, 300,000. Like, those are just two completely different numbers. Longest I see that reign going is 3 months. Yeah, yeah. I don't even know if he makes SummerSlam. We do need a world championship to change hands on a B pay-per-view, like sooner rather than later. I can't go another year of just Cody retaining and somebody else just retaining. Because I think Damian didn't lose his belt till SummerSlam. It can't just be WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Rumble as the times where things could change hands. You gotta put some surprises in there, man. And if that's going to mean we're going to need, more than 5 matches as well, that'd be nice as well. I don't know how long we could go with just this 5 match format. And I'm not saying we need like 12 like in the last one. 7 to 8 is perfectly fine. Not every match also needs to be 20 minutes. That's the beauty of a cruiserweight title, for instance. I'm not saying bring back the cruiserweight title, but devote something that's fast paced, high stakes. Whether that is a tag division you want to focus on, or a certain US title that's not on TV, do something. AJ won the WWE Championship on a random SmackDown in London. Yes, yes, I do remember that. He beat Jinder in England because Brock Lesnar didn't want to work with Jinder Mahal at Survivor Series. And we got Brock and AJ instead. A hell of an upgrade. I miss when titles would change hands on random shows. Yeah, I mean, we still get that a little bit. I was very surprised when Jey Uso beat Gunther. I'm trying to think of another one where I was surprised. The women's tag titles have changed hands on Raw and SmackDown a lot. I feel like since the Triple H booking has started. I think Dom getting a sneaky win over Jay would be great. I don't think Dom should be touching a world championship anytime soon. That guy's got to get an Intercontinental or U.S. title first. Because all he has is the NXT North American title. He didn't even win the NXT title. So when you do somebody like that, he's also extremely young. What was he, like 27? Like, you got time. Jey Uso's 39 years old. We could wait a year or two on a world title thing from Dom. Yeah, Big E cashed in on a Raw. That was pre Triple H booking. That was 2021. The week that CM Punk had his first match in AEW. So it was kind of just trying to get the attention on them again. I think back to 2021 AEW, like the takeover era of NXT, where it was like the quality of those shows and how hot that product was it was something special. He'd hold it for like a week. He had it. Yeah, but I listen. A short reign is fine because you can have like Drew cashing in, or you can have Drew making a mistake and Damian cashes in. You could pull that off. But if you have somebody like Dom win the title by cheating and losing it a week later, to me that devalues the title. To me, the person the title is way more important than the person at that point. Where when Drew won it, it was connecting to the CM Punk rivalry, and you had Damian was a credible guy at that point where he had big time matches. You can't just strap a belt on a guy and just do that to the belt, especially a new belt like the World Heavyweight title. Like it, and that's a belt that's also widely criticized as the second tier title. So if you put somebody like that on Dom only for a week, that's going to be completely devalue your world title. Do that for the United States title, do that for the IC title. Those are the experimental titles. Those are the belts you do stuff like that. Like Braun Breaker holding this IC belt for all these months is doing nothing. Experiment a little, do different things. Um, yeah, so it all comes down to world titles are extremely hard to book because it is really easy to just put it on a guy and keep it on him for a year. It's the really safe booking, and that's why I've been really critical of Cody. Where did he really need that long reign? The first 6 months or so, I was completely fine with it, but at some point you do have to pull the trigger on something, but you also risk that fear of burying the belt as well. It's a very tough balance. I would, yeah, it booking wrestling sounds hard. Does Sheamus get his Grand Slam at Mania? I think yeah, I would love that. I would love if Sheamus beat Braun Breaker and he finally becomes a Grand Slam champion. Another thing I want to point out, if Cena wins the title, a world title, and he breaks the record, the one thing he hasn't done is become a Grand Slam champion as well. So does John Cena become Intercontinental Champion at some point this year? Does he win it at this rumored Ruthless Aggression pay per view and vacates it after? I think that'd be a little dumb, and it also just kind of be copying the whole Sting booking, so I wouldn't like that at all. Um, I think if Cena wins the Intercontinental title, you do the Cena Open Challenge, and that dude fights every young guy you want him to see. That's at least how I would do it because I was a John Cena hater growing up. I did not become a John Cena fan until those U.S. Open challenges, and that guy worked with Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Dean Ambrose, like all these great wrestlers, and he went in and showed that he could keep up with them. Not only keep up with them, but put on new moves. His matches with Kevin Owens was spectacular. That era of John Cena, if we could get a little snippet of that with him possibly as Intercontinental Champion, awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Cena could go after Sheamus because they have a lot of history too, and you could run that back. We haven't even talked about Bayley getting an NXT title shot and now also an Intercontinental title shot. She's chasing a lot of championships this year. Yeah, Bayley seems to be just feuding with everyone right now, and I think this will just lead to Bayley versus Roxanne either at WrestleMania or Elimination Chamber or something to that extent. I don't know if that rivalry's hot enough for WrestleMania right now, but you could make it hot enough for Mania. Um, yeah, the Charlotte stuff is still up in the air. Not really sure what's gonna happen. I'd be shocked if any women's Intercontinental or U.S. title is on the line at WrestleMania. That's really sad to say, but I don't see either Lyra or Chelsea Green getting enough momentum to make it on the WrestleMania card, unfortunately. But that could change. We got a couple months here. Not really. We have like 2 months, but we have time. We We have time to, possibly fix that. Um, yeah, Cena Grand Slam champion, would not mind that for the year. That NXT Vengeance Day card is wild though. Um, that's really interesting. Now looking at it, how dare you disrespect the longest reigning women's U.S. champion? I think Chelsea Green was a perfect first U.S. champion. I think she's highly entertaining, but I just can't see her making the Mania card unless like, phew, I don't know what, I don't unless Trish Stratus returns and she wants to challenge her for some reason. I just don't see it happening. Trish Stratus versus Chelsea actually makes more sense than we think. They're both Canadian. Chelsea um, wants to kind of be the modern diva, and then Trish Stratus started as kind of like that diva, and then she kind of worked her way to become like an actual wrestler. So there kind of is a story there. The more I think about it, yeah, they could do a big multi-women match. Yeah, if it does end up on the card, it's most likely like a multi-women ladder match or something to that extent. But and that's fine. The biggest mistake, I guess not mistake because it's a very popular pay-per-view, but a thing that always bugged me was getting rid of the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania. That was the perfect opening match to get a bunch of guys in a match who just didn't quite make it to a big story for WrestleMania. And you could tell they miss it because in the past 10 years, we have had ladder matches for the tag titles, for the Intercontinental title, stuff like that. If Money in the Bank, man, I know it's a pipe dream. They'll never do it. But if they just move Money in the Bank back to WrestleMania, it would solve a lot of problems. It did belong there. It was a great, WrestleMania tradition. And then they tried to do the Andre Battle Royal. Like, you could tell VKM or whoever was booking all of it, you could tell they missed, like, doing those matches. Just they were just a perfect way to either kick off Mania or be that, like, just fast paced like match to get people going. Trish versus Chelsea, yeah. What's a staggering Mania match that I always forget that happened? WrestleMania 22, and I literally want to double check to make sure. I always see this when I rewatch WrestleMania 22. I always see this match on here, and I always don't believe it happened. Yeah, JBL, and maybe because it's this person, but JBL defeated Chris Benoit for the U.S. title. I just have no memory ever watching JBL win the U.S. title at WrestleMania. That's just, I don't know. Isn't that weird? But yeah, the Money in the Bank did belong there. But we are now over an hour. I don't want to go too long on this because we got other stuff to do, things to do. Thank you guys for joining me on this Raw review. I do apologize for not going live last night. I was literally bedridden. It sucked, but we're all good now. Back to our usual stuff, and I will see you guys this weekend, and I will keep you updated on the SmackDown stream when that would happen. And yeah, and then hopefully next week it's back to normal, and I'll see you guys in the regular time zones. But thank you guys once again. Watch Friday Night Strike this Friday. It's a good one. Saturday night's crowd pleasing event coming your way this Saturday is a Proving Grounds takeover. So, for all you Proving Grounds fans, if you've been missing it, well, here's a little PLE action, I guess, for you guys. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next live stream. I gotta wait a couple of seconds to make sure